This is part 3, episode 96. Oh no. Wu Feng sensed that something was amiss. However, she had no intention of retreating. Instead, her right leg flew into the air like a bolt of lightning as she tried to kick Jiang Nan. Horizontal roll. Jiang Nan was able to grab Wu Feng's right leg with her hands from a sideways position. Had it been anyone else, they would be burnt by the dragon fire that blazed on Wu Feng's right leg. However, Jiang Nan was immune to it. With the power of her mysterious jade hands, she had no such fear. On the other hand, when Wu Feng felt Jiang Nan's hands squeeze the bottom of her knee, she noticed that her right calf lost all sensation. Wu Feng had always been strong. Faced with this situation, she showed no sign of weakness. Instead, she kicked out at Jiang Nan, who was grabbing onto her right leg with her left leg. At the same time, the fifth soul ring on her body lit up. She turned into a red dragon once again, and unleashed her most powerful soul skill, Dragon Cloud Pierce. She not only used this soul skill to break free from Jiang Nan, but she also relied on it to turn the tables on her. However, at this time, Jiang Nan's fifth soul ring lit up as well. Even though their power was the same, how could Jiang Nan be known as one of Shrek's 7 monsters, if she gave her opponent any chance at retaliation, at such a close distance? Golden light flashed, and Jiang Nan grabbed Wu Feng's left leg too. Then, before Wu Feng could fully unleash her fifth soul skill, a layer of golden light started to creep up her legs. Everywhere it touched, Wu Feng could feel her lower limbs going numb. When the golden light reached her navel, she felt her soul power drain from her body. Her soul skill, which she was in the midst of using, was forcibly halted. She collapsed onto the ground. Jiang Nan's figure could be seen in the golden light once more. This was her fifth soul skill, Soft Bone Lock. Wu Feng's soul power and body were completely sealed. She lost all abilities to fight. Naturally, under this condition, Jiang Nan could not continue to attack. However, for a soul master like her, it was enough. As long as she released Soft Bone Lock, she would regain her abilities much quicker than Wu Feng. Jiang Nan wins. She passes the second round, adventure. A few rays of light shone simultaneously. Wu Feng and Ning Qian returned to where they were. They recovered fully from their fight with Jiang Nan. At this moment, Jiang Nan disappeared from where she was too. No one knew where she went. Undoubtedly, Jiang Nan was the first person to pass the second round based on her own merits, other than the 3 who were exempted. At the same time, she showed Wu Feng, Ning Qian, Zhulu and Dai Huabin the difference in their abilities. This was due to a disparity in strength. Jiang Nan, viewed as the weakest among Shrek's 7 monsters, was able to defeat a combination of the strongest auxiliary-type martial soul, Ning Qian, and her 7 treasure-glazed pagoda, and Wu Feng, who possessed the fire dragon. Even though the small arena was to Jiang Nan's advantage, it was clear that her strength was superior to both Wu Feng and Ning Qian. 6 out of the original 13 were gone. Only 7 were left. Hui Yuhao, Wang Donga, Wang Chua, Wu Feng, Zhulu, Ning Qian, and Dai Huabin. The wheel appeared once more, and a golden light shone, attracting everyone's attention. This time, Dai Huabin was the one who was chosen for the wheel's adventure. The wheel spun, and this time, it stopped rather quickly. The symbol that appeared in front of Dai Huabin was a pair of swords. Defeat your opponent, and you shall pass this round. If your opponent beats you, they'll pass this round. The loser will be sent to the deep adventure round. The moment the voice stopped speaking, a ray of golden light shot out. This time, it did not even spin. Instead, it landed directly on Zhulu. This was an adventure indeed. However, it was not one of strength, but one of the heart. Despite Dai Huabin's strong personality, when he saw that it was Zhulu who was chosen by the light, a bitter look crossed his face. The golden light flashed, and Zhulu appeared in front of Dai Huabin. The 2 of them looked at each other. Both of them had complicated looks in their eyes. Zhulu, in particular, looked at Dai Huabin as tears streamed down her face. Her lips trembled, but she did not say anything. Dai Huabin sighed and said softly, "Lulu, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I've never thought about my deepest thoughts. I'm wrong. There's nothing else to say. If we can leave this place alive, I'll love you and you alone with all my heart. No one else shall have my heart. I concede defeat for this round. I choose the deep adventure." After he finished this sentence, tears fell from Dai Huabin's eyes. "No. Zhu shouted hysterically. However, it was too late. The golden light flashed, and Dai Huabin disappeared. Dai Huabin admits defeat. Zhu successfully passes this round. Wait a moment, I don't want to pass this round. I want to go with him to the deep adventure round. Let me go, Zhu cried. Her voice choked, and she no longer sounded human. The moment Dai Huabin conceded defeat, and risked it all to go into the deep adventure round, all of the unhappiness in her heart disappeared. Are you sure you want to choose the deep adventure? If you and Dai Huabin take part in deep adventure together, it'll be even more difficult. I choose the deep adventure. Even if I die, I want to die with him. All right, I shall satisfy your request. Zhu shall progress to the deep adventure round. The golden light flashed, and Zhu disappeared. Silence. The wheel fell into a deathly silence. The mysterious existence appeared to have disappeared. For a long while, there was no sound. Everyone had seen what had happened, including Hu Yuhao. While he did not know what had happened between Zhu and Dai Huabin, he felt his heart wrench when he saw Dai Huabin choose the deep adventure without any hesitation, so that Zhu could pass this round. In his heart, Dai Huabin had always been his enemy, his foe. He was the murderer who had killed his mother. However, when he personally witnessed Dai Huabin reveal his emotional side, he felt even more anguish. If Dai Huabin were a cruel and selfish person, he would have no qualms about seeking revenge in the future. However, he now realized that through his interactions with his peers, his ever-deepening love for Donga, and his personal experiences of worldly affairs, the hatred in his heart seemed to have faded. No. I must have my revenge on him and his mother. If not for them, how could mother have died? This touched the most sensitive part of his heart. Hu Yuhao reacted to this pain unknowingly. He clenched his fists tightly. However, even though he was determined to have his revenge, Dai Huabin's actions just now were seared into his mind. The golden light appeared once more. This time, it landed on Wang Chua. The wheel spun, and Hu Yuhao's turbulent emotions were calmed in the face of the golden light. He could subtly feel that regardless of what Wang Chua got, it would have something to do with him. The golden light stopped, and the symbol that appeared underneath Wang Chua's feet was the one that had appeared in front of Jiang Nan earlier on. It was the one with the 3 fists. You have to defeat 2 other randomly chosen opponents. If you beat them, you pass. If you lose, you'll go to the deep adventure round. If your opponents win, their tasks shall still be decided by the wheel, but their difficulty level will be reduced. If your opponents lose, their tasks shall still be decided by the wheel, but their difficulty level will be increased. 2 rays of golden light, without even spinning, fell onto Hu Yuhao and Wang Donga. Then they flashed, and 3 of them were facing each other in the center of the stage. The 3 of them looked at each other. All of them felt strange. Wang Chua's gaze stared intently at Hu Yuhao as she said, "Bring it on, the 2 of you. Don't concede defeat, because that will be an underestimation of my abilities. I've waited for this for a long time. I didn't get my chance in the tournament, so let me have it now." Hu Yuhao sighed and said, "Chua, what are you doing this for?" Wang Chua said, "I'm sure I can beat you." In her resolute eyes, Hu Yuhao appeared to have seen his own intense hate. His heart softened and he said, "All right, since you want to fight me so badly, bring it on. However, this shall be a fight between the 2 of us. For fairness' sake, and for my own glory, Donga shall not take part. This shall just a fight between you and me, all right?" Wang Chua looked at Hu Yuhao's human-shaped soul tool, and she said coldly, "Are you that confident?" Hu Yuhao smiled and said, "Have you forgotten how Yang Feng died at my hands?" Donga. As he said that, he turned to look at her. They exchanged glances, and Wang Donga smiled slightly and nodded. While she did not know what Hu Yuhao wanted to do, she had to support her man at this moment. She too could sense the determination in Wang Chua's heart. Where does this determination come from? From your own unresolved feelings. Regardless of whether she wins or loses, let her have this chance. At the very least, she would not actually injure Hu Yuhao. Wang Donga was sure of this. She turned and stepped back to watch the battle from the side. Wang Chua looked at Hu Yuhao, and her gaze turned cold as she said, "I never expected to fight you under these circumstances. I'll do my best, and I won't hold back. You know me. I won't regret my words. I hope you'll do your best too, as a sign of respect to me." Hu Yuhao looked at her seriously, then nodded. His human-shaped soul tool sealed shut, enveloping his body within. Even with the human-shaped soul tool, no one thought that Hu Yuhao had an unfair advantage. He was immobile, and he could not unleash the power in his legs. He was nowhere near as agile as he normally would be. With the current development of human-shaped soul tools, it would be difficult for Hu Yuhao to be stronger and better than he normally was without it. Furthermore, this was designed and made at the last minute, with absolutely no add-ons. Wang Qiu'er lifted her hand, and a golden light started to shine. She gripped her golden dragon spear tightly in her hands. When she saw the bright golden spear appear, a look of worry crossed Wang Dong's face as she watched from afar. Weapons had no eyes. This was different from a bare-handed brawl. Why was Qiu'er so serious? Are you ready? As Wang Qiu'er raised her golden dragon spear, a layer of golden fog started to waft from her body. The air started to shine with a golden layer of light. A powerful soul power surged forth from her body and targeted Hu Yuhao, coming toward him with the force of a tidal wave. Faced with this suppression, Hu Yuhao controlled his human-shaped soul tool with his spiritual power. He stepped out with his left leg and squatted slightly with his body. He raised both hands in a defensive gesture in front of him. At the same time, a layer of golden light shone from his body. This was the energy of his sovereign's descent. Following that, a golden figure floated behind his back. This was his unique skill, Goddess of Light. Faced with an opponent like Wang Qiu'er, Hu Yuhao did not dare to hold back at all. He knew that Wang Qiu'er was able to improve even more from this tournament. All aspects of her power showed improvement, and her abilities were even stronger than before. Furthermore, he was rather immobile. He could only move with the help of his human-shaped soul tool. In a one-on-one fight, it would be difficult to beat her. However, he had to be careful. Hu Yuhao did not care so much as to whether he would win or lose to her. There was nothing shameful about losing to Wang Qiu'er. All he wanted was to not lose too badly. Bring it on. Hu Yuhao cried out. Wang Qiu'er narrowed her eyes. The look in her eyes became razor-sharp. She bent forward slightly, then charged. Almost instantly, she appeared in front of Hu Yuhao. She stabbed at Hu Yuhao's chest with her golden dragon spear. An emerald light flashed, and a thick emerald green pillar, about the size of Hu Yuhao's chest, shot out. It met Wang Qiu'er's attack head-on. Hu Yuhao understood Wang Qiu'er's strength too well. This tyrannical woman loved to charge straight ahead when she fought. At such a close distance, he would rather use his own judgment than depend on spiritual detection. Hence, the moment he shouted "Bring it on," Hu Yuhao had already activated his Ice Empress Wrath. Ultimate Ice took the shape of an emerald green pillar, which crashed straight into Wang Qiu'er. She was like a moth that flew straight into the fire. An intense golden light shone from Wang Qiu'er's body. The golden fog protected her, and it was able to resist against Ice Empress Wrath. Furthermore, an umbrella-like light shone from the golden dragon spear in her hands. While Hu Yuhao managed to stop her, he could not push her back. Among the 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black soul rings on Wang Qiu'er's body, 2 of them lit up together. The strength of her first soul skill, Golden Dragon Body, and her second soul skill, Dragon Strength, were both activated. She roared and, basking in the power of her 2 soul skills, continued to pierce through Ice Empress Wrath. Her target was Hu Yuhao's chest. However, as the Ice Empress Wrath helped to block her, Hu Yuhao was able to resolve his speed and agility problems. Borrowing the light of ultimate ice from the Ice Empress Wrath, he took a few steps back. The golden figure behind him turned into a ball of intense light as he met Wang Qiu'er's attack. An intense energy burst forth on top of the wheel. It rose high up into the air like a tornado. At this moment, the spectators not only included Wang Dong, but also Wu Feng and Ning Tian. While they could not sense the power, they could still watch. As they watched, their faces changed. We're all of the same age, so why are they so powerful? It's understandable for the captain, as she's almost 20 years old. However, Hu Yuhao is only 17, but is so powerful. He can even match the captain and he has the advantage right now. That was right. Hu Yuhao had the advantage in this clash. An intense explosion rang through the air, and energy surged upward. Both Hu Yuhao and Wang Qiu'er had neglected something, and that was the fact that they were fighting in a rather small area. When such a strong soul power kicked in, the strength of the rebound made the entire area around them vibrate. Neither of them could stand straight, as they both hurriedly retreated. At this moment, Hu Yuhao's advantage became clear. He had used the Ice Empress wrath to slow Wang Qiu'er, and then fought her with the Goddess of Light. Hence, he was only affected by the power of the rebound, while Wang Qiu'er had to contend with the strength of the Goddess of Light as well. Furthermore, she also had to deal with the coldness of Hu Yuhao's ultimate ice. She retreated quickly, and only steadied herself near the edge of the battlefield. Wang Qiu'er had improved, but so had Hu Yuhao. His greatest advantage lay in the fact that he had more soul skills than an ordinary soul master. Hence, with more soul skills, he had more options as he fought. The main problem he faced was how he should combine his soul skills. As he gained more experience, he became more confident in his own mastery of his various powers. To him, all he had to ensure while he unleashed his soul skills was that he had enough soul power. His spiritual power had also continued to increase, which allowed Hu Yuhao to be more precise as he used his soul power to activate his soul skills. This reduced soul power wastage, just like his Ice Empress wrath just now. The moment Goddess of Light touched Wang Qiu'er, he was able to stop Ice Empress wrath with his strong controlling abilities. He did not unleash the full strength of this attack. An immense soul power tore through the air, and Wang Qiu'er did not wait for it to stop. She raised her right leg and stepped on the edge of this strange world. Then, she pushed herself forward as her golden dragon spear dazzled with light. She charged straight toward Hu Yuhao. This time, she was strengthened by her first and second soul skills. In terms of strength, she was much stronger and faster than before. It was not realistic to try and hide in such a small space. Hu Yuhao did not try that. A deep blue figure appeared behind him and instantly grew larger. Her expression was icy cold, and she wielded absolute power over ice and snow. It was the Snow Empress. The Snow Empress figure entered Hu Yuhao's body instantly. He raised his right arm, and a dark blue sword light formed, which turned into a shockingly long ray of light that slashed down vertically. The spear light, which encompassed a wide area, appeared insignificant next to this. Looking at its shape, it seemed capable of splitting heaven and earth. Unparalleled chill, Empress Sword. This was the most powerful sword from the perfect fusion of Hu Yuhao and the Snow Empress. The vast amount of spear light was concentrated into one stalk. It tapped the edge of the deep blue light, and a faint ding could be heard. Then, the deep blue Empress sword bounced into the air and disappeared into nothing. However, the golden dragon spear stopped too. A deep blue light started to spread from the tip of the spear. It crept halfway down the spear before it was forcibly stopped by the golden yellow light. However, Wang Qiu'er, who gripped the spear tightly, appeared to be covered by a layer of ice. His ultimate ice had become even purer. Wang Qiu'er could sense her entire body freezing up. She could not help but gasp in shock. She had never expected Hu Yuhao to fight her head-on. Could he really pull it off? At this moment, Hu Yuhao, who had been on the defensive since the start of the battle, started to go on the offensive. Light shone from his back once more, and, propelled by his soul thruster, he soon appeared in front of Wang Qiu'er. An odd scene appeared. The armor of his human-shaped soul tool above his hand opened, and his bare palm was revealed. He pushed out with this palm and hit Wang Qiu'er's right shoulder. When she saw Hu Yuhao's palm, which shone with an odd deep blue light, Wang Qiu'er's face soured. Despite her fierce fighting style, she did not dare to come into contact with Hu Yuhao. Her body flashed and, pivoting on her golden dragon spear, she swiftly retreated. Hu Yuhao was familiar with her powers, so how could she not be familiar with his? When he struck with his left hand, this was evidently Hu Yuhao's most powerful snowless glacier. This supreme coldness was something that even Wang Qiu'er could not deal with. Had it been anyone else, she would have taken the blow and counterattacked. But once this coldness entered her body, it would be game over for her. Wang Qiu'er retreated in a flash, but Hu Yuhao showed no sign of abating his attack. He struck out with his left palm once more, and then switched to his right fist, which was armor-clad. A golden light flashed, and Goddess of Light appeared behind Hu Yuhao once more. Undoubtedly, this punch was imbued with the power of his ability. Wang Qiu'er already had a bone to pick with Hu Yuhao. Now, as he attacked relentlessly, she became even more enraged. A dragon roar resonated in the air as she raised her hands. Her left hand struck Hu Yuhao's right fist, while she tried to grab Hu Yuhao's head with her right hand. She feared Hu Yuhao's spiritual shock most. To him, this was the best chance to unleash that powerful attack. As his spiritual power increased, Hu Yuhao's spiritual shock became more powerful as well. Wang Qiu'er was confident that she could take it, but if she did, her body would surely be injured. Furthermore, once she was injured, she would move much slower. Hence, as she struck, she first tried to take care of Hu Yuhao's head by using her immense aura to suppress him. She was confident that if Hu Yuhao used spiritual shock now, she would lose control of her soul, but her attack would not cease. At the very least, she would not be at a disadvantage. Wang Qiu'er's predicted spiritual shock did not come. Instead, Hu Yuhao continued to punch at her with all his strength. Using strength against me. Just as this thought rose in Wang Qiu'er's mind, Hu Yuhao struck her with his fist. According to her original calculations and her understanding of Hu Yuhao, she could easily swat his right fist to the side with a palm strike. If Hu Yuhao did not use his spiritual shock with his strength, there was no way he could resist the strength of her right hand. However, this judgment was based on Wang Qiu'er's past understanding of Hu Yuhao. What if his offensive capabilities had changed? The moment she hit his right fist with her left palm, Wang Qiu'er sensed that something was amiss. Hu Yuhao's fist was not filled with spiritual power, but it was shockingly strong. Her palm was not powerful enough to knock his fist to one side. However, Wang Qiu'er brimmed with fighting experience. Since she could not knock it aside, she immediately lowered her wrist and changed it from a palm strike to a push as she tried to block Hu Yuhao's fist. Even so, she changed her attack at the last minute, and hence was unable to maximize her strength. Under the immense strength of Hu Yuhao's right fist, he was able to strike her left shoulder. Wang Qiu'er grunted, and her body was sent flying. Her hand, which she had used to grab Hu Yuhao's head, let go. How can this be possible? Ning Qian and Wu Feng stared at this scene in shock. While they both knew that Hu Yuhao was strong, they had never expected him to be so strong to the point where he could resist Wang Qiu'er in a head-on fight. This is a face-to-face fight, pure and simple. Doesn't he have only 5 rings? Why is he so strong? Questions surfaced in Ning Qian and Wu Feng's minds non-stop. Since the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament, they had both trained hard and improved rapidly. After they made it to the semifinals, their confidence peaked, and they even anticipated their showdown against the Tang sect in the finals. When the explosion happened, causing the finals to be called off, some, if not all of them, were despondent. They would not be able to defeat the Tang sect under Wang Qiu'er's leadership, and this was their greatest regret. However, today, in this mysterious yin-yang love-querying valley, they finally understood the difference between the Tang sect and themselves. Jiang Nan, whom they perceived to be the weakest, was able to defeat both of them by herself. If one said that it was because she specialized in close combat, and hence had an advantage in this small space, what about the fight before them right now? What about the fight between Hu Yuhao and Wang Qiu'er? What could they say? While victory and defeat had yet to be decided, Hu Yuhao now had an absolute advantage over Wang Qiu'er, forcing her back step by step. If Hu Yuhao alone was already so powerful, how powerful were the others of Shrek's 7 monsters? When the Tang sect defeated the Holy Ghost sect, everyone, both those from Shrek Academy and outsiders, attributed it to luck. The only thing they could not explain was Hu Yuhao's mysterious final attack. However, they personally experienced it today, forcing both Ning Qian and Wu Feng to admit that there was a huge disparity between the Tang sect and themselves. This was no small difference. She crashed, rebounded and landed. Like a lioness, Wang Qiu'er bounced back into the air instantly. When she had fought Hu Yuhao in close combat just now, she let go of her golden dragon spear. At this moment, it was back in her hands. A light screen appeared in front of her, blocking any possibility of Hu Yuhao continuing his attacks. However, he did not continue. Instead, he stood where the two of them had clashed. On his forehead, a piece of metal of his helmet slid to one side to reveal a mysterious vertical eye. A mystical golden light appeared as well. Oh no, he's going to use spiritual shock. Wang Qiu'er subconsciously let go of her golden dragon spear, as she used all her might to concentrate her spiritual power. At the same time, her soul power rose around her. A golden dragon swirled around her body. Offense turned into defense. However, the spiritual shock, which she had expected, did not appear. Instead, a shocking scene took place before her. Ripples started to appear in the air nearby. Twisted, round waves started to spread outward with Hu Yuhao at their center. Rays of light shone, and the air around him twisted. Everything around him looked mysteriously like ripples of water. The area of the wheel was not large. At this moment, it was completely enveloped within the ripples and started to twist. There was no dead end or crack. Wang Qiu'er had never seen Hu Yuhao use this power before, and she naturally did not know its secret. Her heart turned cold, and she slashed horizontally with her golden dragon spear. A golden light screen started to spread outward. A patch of golden light burst forth from her spear as it attacked the distorted air. Wang Qiu'er's objective was simple. She tried to find out what it was by attacking it to ascertaining his location. Once she found him, she would lock onto him and then attack him with all her might. However, this powerful ability, which Hu Yuhao had used as his trump card against the Holy Ghost sect, could not be overcome so easily. As golden light dashed past the ripples, it disappeared soundlessly. The air around him started to tremble even more intensely, but the area where a bit of light could still be seen disappeared completely. That was right, it disappeared completely. It was as if Hu Yuhao had never been there. At this moment, Wang Qiu'er sensed that something was wrong. Can this transformation come from the yin-yang love-querying valley? However, she soon discarded this thought. While this place was mysterious, it operated on set principles. Whenever that mysterious voice spoke, it would not backtrack on its words. Since it said that it would let her fight Hu Yuhao, there should be no unexpected change to it. Furthermore, Hu Yuhao specialized in spiritual power. This should be a new ability of his. However, he hasn't increased his soul rings. Did he make this ability himself? The ability Hu Yuhao was using now was not something he had made himself. No matter how powerful he was, he had yet to reach that stage. Among the 4 soul skills the Sky Dream Iceworm gave him, the most useless one seemed to be spiritual interference. But as Hu Yuhao increased his own spiritual power ceaselessly, he was able to combine it with imitation to form this mysterious domain. He called it the Sky Dream Domain. However, Hu Yuhao's cultivation was still limited. He had to accumulate power for some time before he could use the Sky Dream Domain. Wang Qiu'er was the first one to experience the full version of it. 3 Hu Yuhaos suddenly appeared in front of Wang Qiu'er. 3 rays of emerald green light shot at her simultaneously from different directions. Wang Qiu'er was shocked. She crossed her golden dragon spear with her left hand. She stabbed toward the left and punched toward the right, and her coiling golden dragon appeared and swirled around her body as she faced the last attack head-on. However, she discovered that she had been tricked. The attacks that came from 3 different directions disappeared in the next instant. Her attempts to resist it with all her might were for naught. An illusion. Wang Qiu'er sensed the source of the problem. However, she did not dare to be careless. Right now, she was at the edge of the space. At least, she still remembered where was. If she charged forward, she would be trapped within the domain. Then she would be in even bigger trouble. She held the golden dragon spear in front of her protectively, and her coiling golden dragon continued to twist and turn around her protectively. Wang Qiu'er closed her eyes. Instantly, her body emitted a layer of mysterious golden light. This was her innate skill, Golden Dragon's perception. While Golden Dragon's perception could not break Hu Yuhao's domain, it was able to greatly augment her analysis of her own predicament. Once an actual attack came, she would be able to resist it and counterattack. The mysterious scene was now in a stalemate. Wang Qiu'er's golden dragon perception and coiling golden dragon both required soul power. Hu Yuhao's Sky Dream Domain not only required soul power, but also required spiritual power. If they continued this stalemate, it would become a competition to see who could last the longest. I've lost. Hu Yuhao's voice rang out. Then, the twisted surroundings disappeared completely. He remained where he was as if nothing had changed. However, Wang Qiu'er's attack in his direction had been futile. How did you lose? Wang Qiu'er asked, glaring at Hu Yuhao. Hu Yuhao smiled bitterly and said, "Don't forget, I only have 5 rings. Furthermore, the area of this domain-type soul skill is too large, so naturally, much of my soul power is going to be wasted. From the start, I only had a few reliable skills. If we continue to fight, I don't really have a chance. Furthermore, your golden dragon perception checks my domain. My only way to win would be a battle of attrition. However, like this, my soul power will run out first. Hence, the final victor will still be you." Hu Yuhao was extremely sincere, but Wang Qiu'er sensed that something was amiss. "You did not lose, you still have so many techniques," she said angrily. Hu Yuhao smiled bitterly and said, "Tell me, among my moves, which one can beat you? You have, Wang Chua was just about to say, the pride of the ice and snow empresses, which he used that day. However, she immediately realized that he was only able to use it in the purple golden butterfly dragon transformation state. However, as he had not fused with Wang Donga, there was no way he could use it. She thought about it, and realized that there really was no skill he could use to beat her. You can use a milk bottle, she said with much difficulty. Hu Yuhao stared at her with disdain and said, can you be more reasonable? We're having a fair fight, and you want me to use a milk bottle? Do you think this place will allow me to fight you unfairly? Furthermore, if I use a milk bottle, I'll lose my concentration. I wouldn't even be able to maintain the domain. I've lost. Donga and I have lost. You pass. Indeed, as Hu Yuhao admitted defeat, the voice rang out, Wang Chua wins. Pass. The golden light flashed, and Wang Chua disappeared with a suspicious look on her face. Hu Yuhao and Wang Donga returned to their original places. Could Hu Yuhao really beat Wang Chua? Even he did not know the answer to this question. He did have many attacks he could use, but how powerful was Wang Chua? She was known as the strongest soul master with a dragon martial soul. Wang Chua's strongest trait was that if she faced a more powerful opponent, she would respond with strength in kind. The strength of her opponent was often enough to make her perform extraordinarily. Furthermore, with her ultimate strength, even if she ran out of soul power, her fighting abilities might not decrease. Furthermore, if she used all her strength, even a soul sage or a soul doluo would not dare to fight her head-on. Hu Yuhao had never planned on winning. He planned to face her head-on and gain an advantage before conceding defeat. This was the best possible outcome. This would not cause him to lose confidence in facing Wang Chua, but it would also clearly show the results of this battle. Just when Hu Yuhao thought that they would be sent back to their original spots to continue with the mysterious wheel, the calm voice rang out coldly. In a 2-against-1 fight, you did not use all your strength and hence, violated the rules. You conceded defeat deliberately and thus, you will be punished with the deep adventure. 2 rays of light flashed, and before Hu Yuhao and Wang Donga could say anything in response, they were whisked away. This? Wu Feng and Ning Qian were both shocked. When Dai Huabin faced off against Zhulu earlier on, he conceded defeat straight away. However, this mysterious place did not say that they cheated, and instead, it allowed Zhulu to progress. Under her pleas, it then sent her to deep adventure as well. However, after the fair fight between Hu Yuhao and Wang Chua, they were deemed to have cheated because Wang Donga did not participate. What kind of rule was this? The light flashed, and the wheel appeared once more. This time, the light appeared underneath Ning Qian's feet. Only Wu Feng and I are left. Ning Qian could not help but look at Wu Feng. Wu Feng was looking at her. Ning Qian had decided if she ended up in a one-on-one fight, she would concede defeat. After all, there was no way she could beat Wu Feng one-on-one. If I have to go to the deep adventure, so be it. Even though Ning Qian clearly knew that as an auxiliary type soul master, entering the deep adventure was akin to a death sentence, she was resolute in her decision. Emotionally, she was still confused. She had always known that Wu Feng liked her, but she was heterosexual. The only one she liked in the younger generation was Hu Yuhao. However, Hu Yuhao had chosen Wang Donga, who was better than her in all aspects. This made her lose confidence. This video will end here.